If you've come here seeking answers to the inexplicable, subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon now. This is just the first of many chilling stories capable of changing your perception of the unknown and how much a secret can destroy a family. 2014, Willow Creek, California. Sarah had always lived in the same neighborhood. The small houses seemed to only change color every decade. The bond with the neighbors was part of the place's soul. Among everyone, it was impossible not to notice Lillian. 22 years old, serene expression, she tended to flowers and barely showed signs of social life outside of work. Lillian was the type of person who inspired trust through her mystery and serenity. Quietly, she gained sympathy, but kept a comfortable distance. Sarah would only discover later, Lillian's reserved life held an abyss deeper than anyone could imagine. On a random weekend, Lillian went to a spiritual retreat accompanied by a friend, an event that at first glance seemed harmless. Upon her return, Lillian was different. Her voice, once sweet, now carried echoes of self-help and transcendental energy. She began to speak, almost preaching, about Ethan, the man she met at the retreat. She spoke with delight about ayahuasca tea, energy experiences, and liberation. In a short time, Lillian began to avoid her cell phone, arguing that technology contaminated the spirit. Her discourse transformed into a mantra about a community in the state's interior where life was intensely simple and full. Lillian's parents watched this mutation with dread, suspecting Ethan's influence. No one, however, could stop her. Gradually, she began to shed everything that once represented her identity. She quit the flower shop, sold personal items, donated clothes, and finally got rid of her yellow beetle, an object she was notoriously passionate about. Sarah received a box of books and some clothes from her as a farewell. The tone was one of delirious happiness, as if she were departing for paradise. It was impossible not to think that Lillian was under some kind of spell or manipulation. Lillian's definitive move left the neighborhood apprehensive. Months passed without any contact. Her family tried to locate the community, but only discovered details with the help of a police cousin of Sarah's. According to him, it was a spiritualist cult, already investigated for keeping people isolated, with practices of mind control, extreme fasting, and healing sessions that bordered on psychological torture. The complaint made by Lillian's parents and siblings had no practical effect. Adults signed documents stating voluntary participation. The scene the police found was unsettling. Astonished people, supposedly happy, but so disconnected from reality that it seemed no one was truly there. Sarah's cousin confided in her a legend about the place. Anyone who tried to escape either went mad or disappeared without a trace. Rumors circulated about a woman who escaped from there in a deplorable state, debilitated, having panic attacks, reporting voices of a master pursuing her. Supposedly, women were chosen for purification rituals that implied physical and psychological abuse. Meanwhile, no concrete news of Lillian, but the legend gained strength. The community was legally and spiritually shielded, making any action almost impossible. Sarah watched Lillian's parents lose their sparkle each day. The silence in the neighboring house was suffocating. The emptiness of lost was felt throughout the street, as if Lillian's absence contaminated the entire neighborhood. The improbable happened, with difficulty and little fanfare, to bring Lillian back. When she returned, she was unrecognizable, thin, short, and dyed hair, her skin marked by sleepless nights. The neighbors struggled to accept that this disfigured figure was the same calm and amiable young woman from before. There was an abyss in Lillian's eyes, a chronic distrust, as if she expected the next blow to come from any direction. The house became a capsule of permanent tension. Lillian was no longer herself. Erratic behaviors, aggressive outbursts, nocturnal breakdowns, screams, and self-mutilation became routine. As months passed, no treatment seemed to have an effect. Lillian began to walk alone on the street in the early hours, shout names, and rave that she was being followed or heard commands. She attacked neighbors with insults, sometimes physically assaulting anyone who tried to help her. She even sacrificed stray animals, to the general shock of the neighborhood, which had never had similar problems before or since. Everyone tolerated it, convinced that the pain Lillian carried was unusual. The family, exhausted, tried to protect their daughter's integrity and maintain appearances in the neighborhood. However, the weight of what Lillian had lived through seemed impossible to share. Lillian's mental state deteriorated to extreme levels. In her delusions, she said she was being hunted by something or someone, that she no longer belonged there, that she should return to purge her errors. She repeated that the community would never allow her liberation. These words clung to Sarah, who began to see the street as the stage for a macabre secret eternally lurking. Traumatized, the family witnessed the total loss of Lillian's personality. The pain spread throughout the neighborhood because in Willow Creek, everyone knew a neighbor's suffering was everyone's suffering. The outcome was brutal. On a seemingly normal morning, Lillian was found hanged from a tree on the street where she had lived her life. The scene petrified the community, united families in terrified silence, and sealed the street with an atmosphere of death and mystery. No one could ever sleep without remembering the body swaying in the wind, and nothing was explained. At the wake, tears competed with fear. The subject became taboo. In whispers, it was speculated that Lillian was pursued not only by memories, but by entities she had brought from her captivity. Sarah reflected deeply after the event. She scoured the internet, sought answers in therapies and support groups, but nothing seemed to account for the emptiness. The only certainty that remained was the destructive power of the secret kept in the cult where Lillian spent months, and how a collective trauma never fully heals. The street was never the same. Lillian's house remained closed, with the windows boarded up. At night, residents claimed to hear footsteps, sobs, whispers, as if the presence of whoever lived there still echoed. Before finishing, if you have witnessed something inexplicable, share it in the comments. Stories like this show us the importance of paying attention to the signs. Subscribe, hit the bell icon, and stay alert, because silence can hide dangers no one imagines.